back to another episode of StichMethod. Before we begin, make sure you share and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about the Phrygian mode. I've done some masterclasses on Mixolydian and Dorian, and I figured, although this isn't necessarily a masterclass, I want to educate everyone on the Phrygian mode and what it has to offer and how to not make it sound like Swiss cheese. Alright, so let's begin. The Phrygian mode is mode number 3. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, watch this. Oh, my fingers. Watch this video here, the Understanding Modes video. Modes are really about there's two types of modes. Let's just start there. There's parallel modes and relative modes. It's all about the relative modes, also known as the chord progression. The chord progression of a song is what's going to give the song its modal flavor. Now, when you're talking about scales, like the Phrygian scale, the Dorian scale, those scales are known as parallel modes. And it's those scales that you put on top of the chord progressions. And so the easiest way to understand modes is to look at the chord progression first. So the Phrygian mode is mode number 3, which means that we're going to start on the number 3 chord. So if we're in the key of C, and today we're going to be in the key of C, you have all these chords in the key of C. You can see that the first chord is C major, second would be D minor, and the third is E minor. Well, if we stay with those chords in the key of C, and we start a chord progression on an E minor and stick to those chords in the key of C, it's going to be known as an E Phrygian progression. Here is the progression that I chose. All right, check this out. I wrote an E Phrygian chord progression. It's in the key of C. It starts on the E minor, and I'm using the chords also in that key of C. And the chord progression goes like this. It's E minor, F, E minor again, F, C. So there's the chord progression. Now, that puts us in the E Phrygian mindset. So how do we solo over an E Phrygian progression? Well, it's actually quite simple. There's some layers we're going to talk about, but let's just talk about the first thing, is that mode number 3, Phrygian, is a minor mode. So what does that mean? Well, if you don't know what the heck you're doing, you can always throw a minor pentatonic on top of it and call it a day. Well, what minor pentatonic? Well, that would be the E minor pentatonic. If we're playing an E Phrygian progression, then the E minor pentatonic will work. I'm going to load up my E minor pentatonic right here, and I'm going to give it a whirl. Alright, you can see it works. It works fine. So the Phrygian mode is a minor mode, and hence a minor pentatonic is going to work on top of it. Remember, pentatonics don't have any modal responsibility in terms of they don't lock themselves into a mode. Because it's a minor chord progression, you can play the E minor pentatonic. Excuse me, my allergies are just off the charts today. So now, that's step number 1. And you can hear it sounds really good. I'm not going to lie, that chord progression is really cool too. Now, the next thing we can do in soloing on top of this is to add the special note that makes the Phrygian scale, or the parallel scale, Phrygian. What it really is, and this is hard to explain, but a Phrygian scale is really a full minor scale with a flat 2. And it's the flat 2 that makes Phrygian Phrygian. So check this out. Here is the root note. You can say this is the 1. Now the flat 2 is 1 fret above it. There it is. In the E minor pentatonic, we have this guy here, then you have the flat 2. Here's a root note here, here's the flat 2. Here's another root note here, and here's the flat 2. Very, very simple, all right? And so now, we can solo now with that minor pentatonic. And if you want to understand this better and get a really good idea, check out this video as well, taking a pentatonic and just turning into the special scales for modes. I'll stop talking. All right, so now I'm going to play that minor pentatonic. But now, I'm going to add the special Phrygian note. here, it's like, booyah. Like, I mean, that's the sound of Phrygian. That's a Phrygian sound right there, the flat 2 on top of the minor scale. Now, the next thing we can do is play the full Phrygian scale. It's just about soloing on top of Phrygian stuff. Well, what's the full Phrygian scale? I already told you. It's a C major scale, just starting on the E. So on the 12th fret, if you want to find any C major scale, and this is it right here, 12, 13, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 12, 13, 15, 12, 13, 15. That's it, just a C major scale. It's the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? That's it. Now, just solo on the E, coming off of the E, it's an E Phrygian scale. But keep in mind now, hold up, Ian, can't we, throw some pentatonic stuff in there? Yes. Can we just throw that special note in there? Yes. Can we also throw the full scale? Yes. So check it out what it sounds like when doves cry. Here we go. Okay, so there's a little bit of pentatonic, a little bit of that, the full Phrygian, a little bit of the pentatonic with the flat 2. Now, the last way you can solo on top of Phrygian, I'm just booking through this, we're just cooking, is you could, one of my favorites is actually just sticking with the pentatonic, right, and maybe adding some of that stuff, but, and this is, how do I explain this? The first chord of this is an E minor, and that's what makes it Phrygian. We're starting on the number 3 in the key of C, the E minor. And so I'm going to stick with the E minor pentatonic on the E, and when the F and the C come, even though it's fast, I'm going to try and punch those arpeggios or those chord tones. In case you haven't seen it, I have an awesome 2-hour free caged arpeggio masterclass. It'll make you a master of doing this stuff unbelievably well. And so what you want to do is, here's my E minor pentatonic. Well, where's my F chord? It's right here. Where's my C chord? It's right here. So on those chords, I'm going to try to hit those things instead of just playing the scale and make the song pop a little. So let's see if we can get this down. Alright, so, sorry, my head got mixed up. I switched my Fs and my Cs, but nonetheless you can hear it locked in finally at the end. So you can see that, that takes some speed, but the idea is you have many options to make Phrygian sound amazing. It doesn't have to be just a Phrygian scale on top of a chord progression. What makes it Phrygian is the chord progression. It needs to be in a key. It needs to start on the 3rd of that key, and then you can write a chord progression using any of the chords in that key. And then your options are a minor pentatonic, if you just want to, catch that groove and kind of keep it real and easy. You can add the special note, the flat 2. You can add the full Phrygian scale, and then you can start adding your chord tones and your arpeggios. So you can practice this stuff with me at Patreon if you want to, and go find a Phrygian backing track or make up your own, and keep in mind what your options are. But Phrygian's not a hard mode. If you don't do it, I want to say it's not if you don't do it right, but usually Phrygian has a very, to me, a Swiss cheese type of sound, and you can really break out of it by creating some really cool chord progressions and making it full color, and people won't even know that was a Phrygian chord progression because it just sounds so good when you layer these ideas. I'll stop talking. Thank you for being here on another episode of StichMethod. Hopefully we talk sooner than later. Bye-bye.